This podcast is brought to you by Business Radio, powered by Wharton, originally airing on SiriusXM.
From the campus of the University of Pennsylvania Wharton School, this is In the Workplace on Business Radio, powered by the Wharton School. Here are Professor Peter Cappelli and Dan O'Mara.
Hey folks, welcome back. You're in the workplace. I'm Peter Cappelli.
I'm Dan O'Mara.
I'm a professor of management here at the Wharton School.
And I am adjunct faculty at the Wharton School and a shareholder at Ogletree Deacons in Philadelphia.
So this is a show where we talk about things going on at work. And if you're listening on Thursday, we're live. And we have some very pertinent questions for you folks to help us answer along the way. Here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to begin with our colleague Debbie Bolla, who I hope is on the line. Debbie is the editor-in-chief of HRO Today magazine. And as she does once every month, she regales us with what is hot in the editorial world in terms of the stories that they've been following and things that they've been seeing. Debbie, how are you?
I'm great.
So tell us what's in the news this week. We have, it looked like a couple of interesting stories. Maybe we start with the one on bullying. What's going on there? What are you hearing from people? And tell us a little about the story.
Well, you know, we had this really interesting feature on the cover, just really focusing on workplace violence. You know, there was that shooting in Illinois in February. So we just wanted to provide our readers with some sense of how they can approach their workforce to keep them safe. And one of these issues is bullying. Just, you know, people not behaving well in the workforce or not treating people in the best way. And this, you know, what it really relates back to is culture. You know, organizations are very focused on having a solid, healthy culture, one that attracts talent, and they want to eliminate any bad feelings. But, you know, some recent research in the story from the Workplace Bullying Institute finds that 20% of adult workers said they had been bullied or had witnessed bullying. And then it trickles down to everything in life. It adds to that stress and productivity and lower engagement.
So, Debbie, let me ask you a little bit about the idea of zero tolerance for bullying. Dan has talked about this a little bit before. When people are talking about, and I imagine some employers are now saying, that they have zero tolerance for bullying. What does that actually mean?
Well, it just means that that type of personal attack or gossip type behavior will not be accepted in the environment. And it's communicated through the culture and through policy, and it also allows employees, they really should provide employees with access to some sort of anonymous reporting device if it's being seen. So it really does, because it perhaps will occur. It's hard to control the behaviors of all employees, as any large organization can attest to. But it's really empowering employees to be able to feel like they have a safe space where they can report it, and then, you know, they can take legal actions or look into it, or, you know, as those things progress.
So let me ask both of you this question about bullying. So Debbie was saying a lot of these folks, a lot of observers think this is about culture. But do you think it is really? I mean, there are places that, you know, that both tolerate it, and based on what the people at the very top of the organization do, you might say that they encourage it. I mean, if you've got a CEO who bullies people, then it's going to trickle down for sure.
As anything does.
As anything does. Do you think? Do you think though that is the most typical explanation for what's going on? Is something funny about the culture, which really means something that the leaders are doing? Or do you think it's kind of random that you got people in your organization who you didn't hire them in because they were bullies, but you didn't know or didn't pay enough attention, and then poof, they pop off? What do you think?
I mean, I definitely think it can stem either way, but more commonly would probably be individual. But when I say culture, I mean about addressing the behavior. You know, if this happens as an employee, you want to be in an environment where you feel like this can be addressed and it will not be tolerated.
So the idea, I think, of zero tolerance makes sense in that context, that we investigate everything. I think Dan has talked about this in the context of legal claims on issues like sexual harassment, right? That zero tolerance means that you investigate everything, but it doesn't necessarily say what you do about it.
Yeah, or to rephrase it, just take an example of sexual harassment, other types of improper harassment. Zero tolerance means improper conduct will never be tolerated. It will always be subject to investigation and the appropriate remedial action. doesn't mean everybody gets fired for every offense, no matter how minor.
Right.
Which, frankly, in the Me Too generation, I've read articles written by women who say, the one of the negative aspects of Me Too is companies think they need to fire people for everything, and they really don't.
One of the things I thought was interesting here, Deb, is the study that you reported in Norway, and it sounded like they were looking at trials were these legal trials of dealing with people who were bullies, or these experiments that they were studying?
It was more looking at how to intervene.
Okay.
And there's not surprisingly, there's no hard and fast rule on how to do it.
Yep.
And some of these interventions did not work. There should be a policy around it, but again, like you said before, not everyone just gets fired. You don't just get fired immediately. It's more of a case-by-case basis. So they have to really, when they come up, they need to be taken seriously, but there has to be discussions with witnesses. There needs to be documents.
Yep.
There needs to be information on the accounts that it happened, some evidence. So it's a long process that will vary as they come to the surface.
Okay. Deb, let's switch gears to one more of your articles here, and this is the one on rebooting and what's going on with recruiting. And this is part of something, if you're not following human resources, one of the hotter topics, because hiring is so hot, is this issue of focusing on the applicant or the candidate experience. And you're telling a story about one company here and a little bit about what they did. Tell us a little about what Hilton did in this context here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Hilton obviously is in the business of providing memorable experiences for customers. You go there,
Good
you
ones.
go on vacation, you stay, excellent ones. And so they really translated that into their employee experience or candidate experience, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
There have been studies linking that employees that work in the service-based industry, if they're happy, they have their customers, they provide better customer service.
Yeah.
So there's a linkage there that we've seen within HR. But I got to talk to Laura Schmidt, the Vice President of Talent Acquisition, about how they approach their candidate experience. And they use technology to provide a seamless experience. So when you go to their careers website, first of all, it's a mobile-first approach, meaning you can access it anywhere. Most people are on their phones looking for jobs because they can do it. Yep, they can do it anywhere and on their own time.
Okay.
And the content on the website is very brief and consumable, and they also provide a personalized job search. So when you're going in and looking at different roles, the way they describe them is really more about the candidate. What will I be doing? What will I get out of this? What are the perks? They even list the perks about their travel discounts, their benefits, their work-life balance, their culture, all these things that really seem to matter to candidates. And another interesting fact that their career site has is they have an interactive job search. And when you hear that, what does that really mean?
Yeah.
You go onto the website and they have a video and they talk about Hilton, and then you can have click-throughs within that video to other videos about different things, the employees, the managers, an overview, the culture. And you see current employees talking about what it's like to work there. You also see beautiful backdrops of their properties. So it really provides the candidate with an experience unlike any other, in a sense that they're like, I can picture myself there.
Okay.
Report that a website is important for getting information. That's not surprising.
Yeah.
But even more, 75% say that this experience makes them feel like this is what their employee experience will be like. It's an indicator of that.
So let's stop on that one, because that's an interesting conclusion. So the conclusion is to say, if I'm applying for a job and I feel that the process of applying is irritating, then I assume working for the company is going to be irritating as well. That's the idea?
In a sense that it might be hard to get things done, and there's no technology to enable something as simple as an application. Well, that might translate into my onboarding experience.
Right.
So,
And I guess the distinction there might be between, lots of employers who try to persuade candidates that it's really difficult to get hired. We have really high standards. You have to do lots of stuff in order to get hired here. And one of the things we know about that is that it makes people feel better about the job once they get hired. Boy, this was really hard to do. I feel really, really fortunate to have gotten this job, right? That's different than what you're describing, I think, correct?
Right, and I feel like a lot of candidate experience is more about why should I work here than why you need me. I think it is shifted a little bit at some organizations. And I see your point about feeling empowered once you get that job. Yeah. But for some candidates, that might be off-putting at the get-go.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like if it's too challenging to get my foot in the door or to hear back from someone or get even something like a text, schedule interviews, some candidates want that quick, easy access because they feel like that's how it'll be in their role.
Debbie, we should let you get back to Joycey. We're going to take a break right now, and we're going to come back in just a couple of minutes and talk about some things going on in behavioral science that apply directly to this issue of hiring people. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
For more insight from Business Radio, please visit businessradio.wharton.upenn.edu.